Hey everybody, thanks for joining out in the garden. It is Saturday, July 24th, and it is absolutely scorching hot out here. But you know what's going to be around the corner? Fall. And it's getting that time of year, call it mid to late summer, where you need to start thinking about what you're going to be doing for your fall crop, because you don't plant your fall crops in fall, you plant them in late summer. At least that's how I do in Zone 6B. So this space behind me that's tarped off, I've had it tarped off now for, this spot right directly behind me has been tarped off for about 2 weeks. So everything underneath it should be pretty broke down. This here has only been tarped for a couple days, but there really wasn't anything growing underneath there. It hasn't had anything for a while. So we're going to be planting carrots in this area, and I'm just going to walk you through and show you, and I'll speed up and time progress some of the stuff just so it's not quite so long a video. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to be preparing this soil, prepare the seed bed. I'm going to go over with you the types of carrots that we'll be planting. Matter of fact, I'll probably go ahead and do that now. And yeah, so last year I planted about 6 feet of carrots, and this year I'm doing about 8 foot of carrots. So our family really enjoys carrots. You don't have to prepare the soil like I'm going to, but local Walmart had some topsoil bags for $1, so I'm going to add some more topsoil in here, get it all smoothed over. I'm going to incorporate a little bit of peat for moisture holding capacity. You don't really have to do those steps, but it was on sale, so I grabbed some, so I'm going to go ahead and put it into the bed. So I'm going to grab the seed packets and go over with what we'll be planting here shortly. Okay, so we've got several varieties here coming from a few different seed suppliers. I have some purple carrots from MiGardner. I have some rainbow carrots from MiGardner. I have some Yellowstone carrots from Haas Tools. Some Oxheart carrots from MiGardner. Now, I've only grown 3 kinds of carrots before, ever. Scarlet Nantes, Little Fingers, and Chantenay Red Core. So the majority of these are going to be new varieties I'm trying, but I just wanted to kind of mix things up. And then the 3 that I just mentioned, Chantenay, Scarlet Nantes, and Little Fingers. This one's kind of a short and stubby carrot. These are kind of remind me of like baby carrots, what you get in the store. That's kind of how they grow. And then I also have some Imperators, 2 different seed packets from Everwild Farms and MiGardner. I really suggest checking out the Everwild Farms seed selection they have on eBay. I find that they have a really nice seed selection. And then after this, over to the side where you see my Swiss chard right there, between that and the red Russian kale, I'm going to go ahead and plant some scarlet kale. I'm just gonna remove any debris there, scatter this, top dress it with a little bit of topsoil, maybe an 1/8 inch topsoil over it, a little bit of peat, and then I'm just gonna start watering that for winter. But I won't show that on the video, but I just happen to have it in the seed, the packet of seed that I have here. So all right, we will get right into it. These T-posts off to the side and these old garden implement handles, I was using them to keep the tarps weighed down. And then this germination frame. All right, so there's a little bit of debris down there, not too bad. I honestly forgot that whenever I covered this up, I went ahead and added some peat into it. So basically, first step, I'm gonna get some of this bigger debris out. Looks like they're just stems from some other plants. I'll just remove them. Set them to the side in my compost pile. I'm gonna pull up a couple things of greenery that we're trying to grow. I'm gonna trim back some of these Swiss chard leaves that are kind of getting out of their area. going to be planting the carrots all the way to right here, so just kind of move those out of the way. Throw them to the side for now. Piece of tape. When I built this raised bed, initially, I laid down a bunch of cardboard boxes to keep weed pressure down, and occasionally I'll find a piece of tape. Alright, so I already had some peat laid down that I'd forgot about, so I'm just going to spread that across this section here. You want to make sure your seed bed is pretty level, and mainly because when you go to water, you want the seeds to stay in place. If you have a really uneven seed bed, then what's going to happen is those seeds are going to want to kind of shift everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and dump a couple bags of this topsoil in here. Our local Walmart had these on sale for $1. So I thought, hey, why not? For $1, you can't really beat it. And just kind of scatter that evenly. That one bag had a little bit of moisture in it. The second bag not so much though. It's still spreading pretty good. As you harvest things from your gardens and as you pull previous crops out, you're going to lose a little bit of soil, whether it be just in the lawn or from compaction. Your bed will slowly go down over time if you're not adding compost or different things to it. So I think it's a pretty good idea to occasionally either add compost to your beds or you know, some bag topsoil, bag manure, things like that from your local farm and feed or wherever, whatever you have around your particular location. I definitely add a little bit every year. Peat doesn't have any, it doesn't bring any like nutrition to the table, but what it does bring is some moisture holding capacity. Peat will hold 20 times its weight in moisture, so it's really helpful in keeping that seed bed moist. Okay, kind of get this flattened out a little bit. It's got a little bit of a hump there. All right, looking pretty good, really. Okay, now I do have a lot of kinds of carrots. I plant my carrots thick. I had really good luck using this technique last year, and kind of go over with what I do. You just seed them kind of thick. Like I said, I mean, you're not going to get a bunch of huge carrots, but I like them smaller anyways. I guess you could space them out, do them a little different, but the way I do it works for me, and that's really all that matters in my opinion. So I'm going to start with these purple carrots, and I'm going to bring you in a little closer here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to start on this end right here, and I'm just going to pour all the seed from that packet in my hand. So I'm plant every bit of it, and I'm just going to start sprinkling the seed just right down a strip. Okay, you want to get it pretty thick, Don't worry about it. Just like that. You want to seed it pretty thick, like I said. Okay, so that purple carrot packet, it got me about, 6 inches into the garden bed. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this trowel in here and I'm gonna stab it down to where I'm at. I'm just gonna do that for a second. I've got a board over here, or actually, let me see if this board's long enough. Okay. I'm gonna lay this board right like that. And that's gonna tell me where I stopped with that variety. It's okay if I've got a little overflow into the next variety. It's not the end of the world. But now I'm just gonna come with the next one. And you'll see when I'm all done, I'll then do the soil prep. I mean, I already prepped the soil, but we'll cover these seeds. That packet said 300 seeds. This rainbow variety says 300 also, but to me, from what I just grabbed, there's like half the seeds. I'm only gonna get a couple inches of that. Not too happy in MiGardner with that one. Rainbow seed from MiGardner had about 100 seeds in it. That red one, it was loaded. And got Haas Yellowstone. Just gonna sprinkle. Carrots don't do really well with weed pressure. That's one of the reasons you want to seed them thick. That's gonna give them the best chance of coming up and having a good stand. There we go, we're right there now. Oxheart's gonna be next. Carrots are known for germination issues, and the reason that is they're really slow to germinate. They require the seed bed, the soil substrate that you've got them seeded in, to remain moist until that seed can germinate and come up. And what most people have problems with is keeping that seed bed moist during that entire process. But using my seed germination mats and the tarps like I'm going to be using today, once we get these all seeded in, we'll just cover them up with a tarp and they'll be fantastic. Getting these all in here. So when we're all said and done, we ought to have about, let's see, 3,000 carrots in here planted or more. I know that sounds like a ton, but not every seed's going to germinate. And it's just how it is. Some of the seeds from last year, some of it's new this year, so plant them thick. That's all there is to it. If when they germinate, if you've got any gaps, you can try to fill those gaps a little bit, but you really need to just make sure you're seeding thick the first go around, because you're not going to be able to, in the reseeding, since everything else is going to be germinated already, you're not going to be able to cover that seed up with a tarp or anything like that. Otherwise you'll risk the viability of all the other seed that you already have out. So I really recommend you just hit them thick the first time and then don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to have a lot of these imperator varieties. Most of those others are more like your specialty carrots, your kind of unique carrots. The imperator, those are like your Bugs Bunny style carrots, if you want to call them, if you want to think of it like that. More your traditional long carrot like you'd see in the store. And that's what we're going to be putting the biggest sections in, is this imperator variety. I've got the MiGardner. They had them on sale. They had a seed at cost sale. So instead of everything being $2 a packet, their entire seed line was $1 a packet. And I went ahead and went on there and got like 15 different packets of seed. Mainly because just the deal, you know. Didn't really need them. Probably like most of you gardeners out there watching this channel, you probably got more seeds you know what to do with. I haven't counted my packets in a while, but I've probably got 140 different seed packets, just of different things, you know. Okay. Some of you out there might have way more than that. That's okay. It's fun to grow variety, and you can't grow variety if you don't have the seeds, right? Okay. I'm gonna put a little more of this imperator. Like I already said, carrots, want to see them thick. The worst thing that'll happen is you can just come by and thin. You know, that's no big deal. Okay, so you got all your seed broadcasted, right? That part's done. What's next? Well, what I like to do is I take my rake, I'm going to tamp. So you're going to take your rake just like this, and you're going to come by, and you're just going to tamp it down, okay? Just like that. That's going to push the seed down and give you really good seed to soil contact. Lay this down here. So that's going to give you really good seed to soil contact. Do that across the entire bed. If you don't do this, I can guarantee you will not have the same success as if you do this. So do not skip this step. It's very important to the success of the seed germination. It's also, keep in mind, I'm just tamping. Sure, some of the seed's getting scattered a little bit. It's not getting scattered enough to make a difference. It might move, some of the seed might move half a centimeter, but for the most part, I'm just pushing it straight down to where it's at. No, I'm not hitting every seed, but that's okay. Getting most of them just like that. So once you finish tamping, you don't have to get crazy with it. You don't have to push really hard, nothing like that. Okay, everything's tamped down. Now what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to come over, I'm going to grab a bag of this topsoil. I got one that I know is dry. It's been sitting outside, but it's been covered up. Okay, I'm just going to scatter some of that over it, just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. If anything, you know, make sure you're not putting, you know, more than one dusting in any one area, because what I say, carrots, they take a long time to germinate. You don't want to get them too deep. You don't want to get them too covered up. That'll all lead to a bad germination rate. So just lightly dust them. Am I going to get all the seed covered by doing this? Probably not. Doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. You don't have to be perfect. Mother Nature's not perfect. She does just fine. But this is one of those things that I found that it makes a difference. I'm going to put that down. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to come over with this peat moss. I'm going to do another light dusting on that. Everything I'm doing here is to increase the germination success rate. That's all I'm doing. Okay? The peat moss is going to keep the moisture in. The tarp is going to keep the moisture in. The light dusting of topsoil is going to give the carrots an easier route to pop up. So all this is, everything I've done so far is to give those carrots the best opportunity for successful germination. Okay. Move all your seed packets out of the way at this time so you don't get them wet. We're getting there. We're almost done. Now what we're going to do, we're going to grab our water. And I don't like to water with super hot water, so I'm going to turn this on for a second because it's like 97 degrees today. I'm just going to run that water out into the walkway here real quick. I don't know that that hot water would hurt the seeds, but I don't want to risk it. Okay. So I sacrificed 1.5 gallons, 2 gallons of water there. It's all right. Water's cool now. Put my nozzle back on. I'm going to put it on shower setting. We don't want to disturb the seed. We just want to get it good and moist. So I'm just going to come over. Quick movements like that. I'm not just completely soaking one spot. I'm just not, sitting there like it's an established plant and shooting all at the bottom of it. These aren't established plants. These are seeds that are covered by about 1/8 of an inch of soil, peat moss, topsoil, whatever you're using. Water them in. It's looking good. Yeah, real good there. Okay, so what do seeds need to germinate? They need light. Nope, wrong. They need moisture. They need the proper temperature, and they need something to hold that moisture, some type of substrate. So what do we got? We've got the temperatures high enough. We've got them in a topsoil garden bed situation with peat, so moisture is not going to be an issue. Now we need to make sure that the moisture is going to stick around. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the tarp from earlier. We're going to cover the seed bed, just like that. If you watch my seed germination frame video, you can use those. The only reason I'm not using those right now is, well, they're already being used. I've got them covering up beets and kohlrabi right now. But I needed to get these carrots in the ground too, so. And I've only got 2 active germination panels. The other one ripped up, so. Okay. Wash my hands up a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of water on top of this tarp just to kind of help hold them down. And then you need to figure out what are you going to use to keep these tarps in place. I like to use whatever I have available, at the ready. So I've got this frame from my germination frames. I'll use that on one. And then I've got a couple pieces from old garden hose and stuff that broke off I didn't throw away. And then I've got a couple 7-foot T-posts. Make that 6-foot T-post. Just like that. Okay, so that is how you seed your carrots, maximize your germination rates. What's the next step? Well, these tarps are going to keep it from drying out for the most part. Whenever I did the kohlrabi, collards, and beets, you'll still want to come out and check on them. I'll check on them each day just to see what's going on. You might have to put a little bit of water to them. The good thing is the soil's not going to be dry. As if this was not covered, you could water it and come out here in 3 hours and it'll be dry. That's not going to be the case with them being covered. They're still going to have moisture. They're still going to be damp. Now, it doesn't hurt to lift that tarp up and add a little bit of moisture to it. But for the most part, the soil is going to remain moist. The beets and the kohlrabi, they've been covered now for 4 days, and I've only added water one time over that 4 days after the initial seeding. So I use that as a guide. These carrots will take about 7 days to come up. You do want to check on them each day though, because once they start coming up, you're going to want to get them uncovered. However, there is a fine line there. You don't want to wait until you see 1 or 2 popping up and you go ahead and uncover them. Why? Well, because the rest of the seed bed's going to dry out on you, and those seeds, the other seeds that haven't quite popped up yet, they're not going to have the moisture to get up. What I've noticed is if you wait till about half to 3/4 of them have sprouted and are coming up, go ahead and get them uncovered, and then you're going to have to go to at least twice a day watering until the plants get up and are about 1 inch tall. If you don't do that, then they'll dry up. You can leave them covered while they're coming up and they get to about 1/4 or 1/2 inch. They'll still be okay because they'll look real pale, but as soon as you uncover them and the light gets to them, they'll green up that next day and they'll really start looking good. So carrots are one of those things a lot of people have issues with. A lot of people just have problems, you know, trying to grow them for different reasons. Weed pressure, this eliminates your weed pressure because you've seen that bed basically weed free. And by keeping it covered like this, your carrots are going to be able to germinate. The weed seeds are non-existent. They've already been covered up for 3 or 4 weeks. They've already burned up and died off. So there's really not going to be much weed pressure in there. And once your carrots start coming up and they're about 1 inch and 1.5 inches tall, if any weeds do try to come in, you'll easily be able to tell them. They look completely different than your carrots, and you can just cut them off with scissors. I recommend not pulling them. If you try to pull weeds up from a carrot bed, you're going to disturb the roots and you're going to mess up too many of your carrots. So just come in with a pair of scissors and just kind of snip any of the weeds that are trying to pop up. I hope this was helpful. I feel like it should be. This should definitely help you be a much better carrot farmer, carrot grower. Be sure to plant you some carrots. I'm in 6B. This is Saturday, July 24th. Last year I started my carrots the middle of August. These carrots will overwinter just fine. I'll start harvesting, you know, a few of them in probably 2.5, 3 months. So August, September, October. I'll probably start harvesting some of these middle October, and then I'll continue harvesting them all through the winter just as I want them. As long as the ground's not completely frozen, I can come out here with a fork, a pitchfork, and harvest a thing of carrots, take them inside, wash them, let the kids enjoy them. So appreciate you sticking around watching this video. I hope this was helpful to you. And from my garden to yours, have a great day.